Good morning. Welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. I'm about a minute early, but that's okay. Just settling in. It's been a busy, hectic morning here in the southwest coast of Maine. And I'm sure wherever you are around the world, you can conjure up your own hecticness these days. It's not hard to do. And good morning, Catherine. It's always a joy to be here to present this talk. And as I've said many times, I don't necessarily prepare except right before I come onto live. And it's usually a reflection of what I've been experiencing during the week or what I've seen during the week that I look as part of the collective whole that each one of us are experiencing on some level. May it be subtle or may it be overpowering. And today's talk is about agitation and renewal. And when I originally had those words, it was renewal and agitation. The focus is always on what I would call the lighter part. It's usually a sort of a balancing act of my words. And it truly is about renewal. And so in the larger scope of what we're doing, all of us are renewing our commitment to our divine self, which has been somewhat hidden, buried, transmuted in its explanation to us. And we're now coming into this place of truth within us, which is somewhat defying everything that we've gone through in our lifetime. And it can create a lot of agitation. So if you're feeling agitated, please don't take it out on me, but just know that we're all going through this right now. This is an important part of what we're going through. So that was not in my show notes. That's just me from my heart. So good morning, Joni, Ellie, Linda, Laura. Elia's here. Bless you, dear. I have other people who asked me how to get on, and I posted that on my page, so hopefully they will tune in. So as I begin this morning, just in the last moment, I wrote something in my show notes here. And so what I would like us really to do is to just come to a gentle spot of listening. And I just want to open the field of energy with this little message for us to deepen into. So take a deep breath. Relax. Know that this is a safe space. This is a circle of light. As we gather here today, we hold and uphold each other and ask the eternal creator, may our beloved earth family allow their higher self to lead them through the inner cosmos to those most sacred sites within their own hearts. Just breathe into that, knowing that as we gather here today, we offer this gathering of our energy to the world as part of our journey to assist in reconciling some of the agitation and assist others in the renewal of their commitment to their true self. So as I begin with that, my first notes were basically that all of us are moving through what I call a time warp of renewal. And that most of us are feeling this agitation or some sort of agitation as we move through what are really fields of resistance. Okay, so whenever we have a forward motion, we are always meeting. So it's like driving in a car. You get the wind. You're meeting that wind is not the wind. It's just air, but it becomes the resistance against which we're pushing. And there's no right or wrong to that. Just like there's no right or wrong to the wind. It's just an energy force that, for me, says I'm moving forward. Things are happening. It's not stagnant. I'm not in a still place where everything's coming at me. What's happening is a result of my own personal moving forward. And as many of you are experiencing this is the same thing. And as Ellie says, agitation, she's feeling the agitation, but knows that the renewal is prominent. And that's what it's about. It's about learning to recognize when our agitation is negative, and knowing that, okay, in that moment, I need to sit still and really take a deep look inside myself and say, where is this coming from? What is happening within me? What's shifting and changing? Because if we go out into the world with this agitation, we see what happens. We see what plays out. We attack each other. We create situations where other people attack us. And we're not doing it consciously. It's not anybody wants to go out and do that. It's just a result of carrying that agitation without containing it. And so we can all learn to create a container for our agitation and work on it and realize that I can release this at my own pace. And if I truly want to be renewed, if I really truly want to be more true to who I truly am as my highest self, then I know that this has to go. It just has to go. Doesn't matter how it goes in essence. It's that if it goes, it does without harming others. And most of all, not harming ourselves. So here we are. We're in this craft, I would call it. And the reason I say that is I was reminded, it was so funny this morning, of a childhood thing. It was called a Viewmaster. And it was a little disc with pictures, and you used to look through it and click it and it would go to the next picture, and you sort of had this 3D vision of things. And I had to be around 8 or 9. I was still in Boston, so it's before I was 11. It was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I loved this thing because it was an adventure for me to leave my world, which wasn't all that pleasant, and be able to journey into these adventures. And the one I loved the most, and what came to me this morning perfectly, was one about outer space. I used to love learning anything about outer space. Of course, I know now why I love to learn about outer space, because I feel that was my home. That's where I come from. This is who I am. And I know people will say, oh, this guy's crazy, but it's not. You'll all come to realize that we're part of this whole amazing cosmic life. And when we tap into that, things start to change more quickly. So anyway, sidetrack over. The Viewmaster, and there was this one disc that I remember vividly, and it was about asteroids. And so, granted, they didn't have real pictures of asteroids, at least I don't think they were, but they knew what they were. They were these giant rocks and boulders, and so the asteroid belt. And so it would take you on this journey through the asteroids. And it was like overwhelming, because you look at these rocks and it was hard to make your way through. Although as a child, I wasn't trying to make it anywhere, but I noticed that that's what I felt like, was all of this interference. And sometimes I would want to land on the asteroids and explore them. So this is my child mind. Don't lose it. It's a very safe space in its innocence. And so it was amazing for me to travel through these rocks and not be hit by them, and not, have fear of them. And occasionally thinking in my mind that I would land on one and feel into that. And as a child, I was highly sensitive and highly empathic. So even though this was just a vision, I would tap into that asteroid and try to feel it and see if there was if it was alive, or if it was was there something I could communicate with. And the reality was, it was this cold, non sort of living being. And it was, I didn't feel it had any concern for anything. It was just moving through space. It was collective of all of these minerals, all of these, this space stuff. And it didn't care who it hit, where it went. It was traveling, and it was traveling in this large group of others just like it. And it was totally impersonal. The only thing it kept doing was moving forward. And that forward moving was a resistance to my traveling through it. So there was many times where, even as a child, those asteroids would create a sense of agitation in me. And the agitation was, I couldn't communicate to them. I couldn't speak to them. I couldn't feel them. I couldn't communicate on any level with them. They were just so indifferent. So let's bring it out of childhood, out of a simple, innocent mind, and to what are we going through right now? If we look around the world, there's a lot of asteroids here. We call them humans, but they're acting more like asteroids. They're groups who are very hardened on the outside, who won't communicate, or if they do, they're aggressive, or they have sharp edges, or they've made us not want to communicate with them. And I look at that as, okay, how do we make it through this? How do we tap into ourselves, our highest self, and say, okay, this is where I am. I know this exists, yet I know there's a renewal happening. I know that everything is changing for the better on some level. And how do I place myself in a place where that negativity is not holding me back or creating the agitation in me, which wants me to just stand and defy it? Because when I do that, the greatest harm I'm doing to myself is not honoring who I am and moving through it. I think you can all relate to this in your own way. So I'm not trying to explain everybody that you have to think of it than I do. But I think in our moving forward, notice your agitation. Notice where it comes from. Know that it is like an asteroid, that it is what it is, and it's what we do with it and how we relate to it that is more important than what it is. Because in and of itself, it's just this mass of hardened whatever. And we're not here to be asteroid miners. Although some people on this planet want to mine asteroids, I understand. It's not my program. However, it's to move beyond this asteroid belt that we're going through and get a little more free sailing momentum. So many of you, we are star people. Yes, we are. Very much so. And we're all collective here in this human form. And this is part of our responsibility is to come back to awareness of who we truly are. So again, all of this for me brings up agitation. And as my agitation comes up, I have to withdraw from the world. I have to sit in my space and work on that before I can interface. And then sometimes we have to interface while we're highly agitated. And so it's become a lesson for me to tap deeper into myself to say, I have power over this. I do not have to allow that agitation to display itself. It's not in control. It's just an energy. And I am the master of my energy, just as you are the masters of your energy. And we're taking back our sovereignty. So again, weaving and dodging through this asteroid belt can be very challenging, and it can weaken us. And it can weaken us to the point where we feel a great loss of our own ability to stand in our power, and our ability to have forward vision, our ability to use our energy for the good of the whole. So I pulled a card. Again, one of my sacred meditation cards, or those sacred space meditation cards. And it's the card, I don't know, it just says NGC 4449, forming stars for billions of years. So it's basically a starburst. And the message is divine light. You can see that, yeah. Divine light. The light of my spirit glows with his love, meaning Supreme Creator. It's not a gender faction. Everything is one in this light. Divine light. So here's the answer to our agitation. Here is the answer to what's going on in the world. It's pretty much the answer for everything. When I died, I specifically, the first thing I witnessed was divine, what I would call divine light. It's light beyond any comprehension that the human mind can fathom or justify. It doesn't, you can take the sun, and the sun is like a light bulb in comparison to what I would describe as divine light. And the interesting part of this whole process is which is part of me, which I need to share with people, is that there was no separation, because there was no physical body. There was no human brain trying to figure this out. There was a remnant of that, but it was just melding into this perfect divine light. Of course, if we did that, we wouldn't be here. So don't think that that's going to happen and you're going to be these, but you can invite that light in. You can open yourself up to the light. You can know that beyond this asteroid field, that light exists. And you are part of it. You've always been a part of it. And you always will be a part of it. There is nothing that can separate you from that except your own awareness or your consciousness, which has been distorted by whatever has happened to you in your lifetime. Here we are. Here we are in the middle of our journey of humanity, or being human, and present in this not welcoming environment. Wasn't always not welcoming. The not welcomeness has increased and increased as we have pulled away from who we truly are and given our power away to what we think we are. Again, this creates agitation. Washing machines coming in my mind, washing agitation. The agitator, I think it's actually named. It's just stirring and shaking and to get us clean. So I think this is what the process is right now. We're going through this upheaval of many things, and it's becoming highly visible to the conscious mind to make us more aware of how many different thousands, millions of ways we have veered off the path of our divine light frequency by choice, whether it's ours or somebody else's. At some point, a decision was made on some conscious level to go. And Mother Earth and the universe is still traveling in its own path. It is not being as affected by this as we would like to think in our human egos it is. We're one moment in time. And that timeline is vast, beyond comprehension. So I wanted to do a small sort of meditation here to bring us back into more of an alignment. So if everybody is willing, I would just ask you to just close your eyes. Inhale softly, gently, but fully. Knowing that as we ground ourselves to the heart of Mother Gaia, we are all being connected to by the divine light. Let us feel that energy of divine light being received in us at a cellular level. Take another nice deep breath. Envision yourself being held in the arms of someone who deeply adores you. Knowing that you are safe and warm. Allow an intense wave of peace wrap itself around you. Allowing you to forget everything that is outside of this field of peace. Everything around you now is peace and light. You are now deeply connected to everything around you. renewing yourselves in ways that you have no words for. Words cannot describe what you are feeling. And so allow that to just be, that peace and that light. Allow it to be within you. Relax into that sensation of blissfulness. Inhale it. Exhale it. Knowing that you are both feeling this and you are this. This is divine light. As you come back from this divine light, what we need to remember is this is not outside of us. This is within us. It is always within us. It is attainable, even in the darkest moments of our life. It is the promise to ourselves that we are far more powerful than anything humanity in its human dimension can create. It is the source of all creation. Thank you for joining me on that journey. I needed that. I needed to tap into that this morning, and I needed some company. So I want to thank you for being with me on this journey of moving through the agitation and into a state of renewal. As I came upstairs, there was one card I pulled from Mia's Soul Inspiration Messages cards, and it says, break through the veil of fear, break through the veil of fear, and light appears. Random. Is there randomness in this world? Not if we're paying attention. And then the Kuan Yin Oracle deck, which I love so much, I pulled the card Sisters of the Sun Rising. There you go. Sisters of the Sun Rising. Another invitation to light. And the part I want to read to you in closing is this. And this is from Alana Fairchild and the Kuan Yin Oracle, Sisters of the Rising Sun. You are a highly creative being with the potential to help raise the vibration of consciousness on this planet through your creative projects, work, dreams, hobbies. The power of collaboration, choosing to work with others in joint projects, allows for synergy to occur where you can grow stronger and become more than the sum of your individual parts, calling in great cosmic assistance and potency. You are guided to remain open to other souls joining forces with you, just like the Sisters of the Sun Rising that bring great energy to help humanity through their group endeavors. When you allow for aligned group effort, much that is wonderful can occur. With that, I'm complete, and I ask you to carry the light that was presented here today through us, not just by me. I'm with you in the audience. I just have the power of voice to speak it. And I ask that each of you, when things get agitated, know that it is temporary and it is powerless to who you truly are. On that, through that agitation, there will be a renewal. Like the washing machine, it will come out cleaner and brighter. And this is what the work we're doing now. Doesn't matter how we do it, doesn't matter where we do it. If it's in alignment with divine light, we have a multitude of blessings and a multitude of sacred beings who are willing to help us all along the way. So take that with you this week on your journey. And as the world of chaos continues to flare up and blow up in our face and create all of this energy that's discordant with who we truly are, know that you are not powerless, but you are the light. You are the light that is here now to shine brightly. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Have a great week. Bless everybody that you meet. Know them that as the mirror, the opportunity to see what aggravation is within you, so that you can look at that aggravation and say, you no longer have any power over me. I bless you and I release you. Aho, my friends. See you next week or wherever we appear somewhere. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Ever, ever, ever. This is a collective journey. And I'm glad you're all part of my team. Thank you. Bye-bye.